recently I've been talking to a lot of you, and I've heard from several different places that a lot of you are going through various obstacles, that you want to break through, you want to go to the next level, you want to grow your business, but all of these things are in the way. And when I was thinking about it, my husband said, well, we've had obstacles. How did you overcome those? And I said, well, with weight loss, I just stopped making it hard. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you know, I had quite an amount of weight to lose. I wanted to lose 80 pounds, and it was hard. It was hard not going to McDonald's. It was hard not going to Starbucks. It was hard getting up in the morning to work out. And all of these things, I kept saying, oh, that's so hard, I don't want to do it. And finally I just said, well, stop making it hard. You know, I mean, if you want to do without, I mean, which I had to look at which I wanted more. Did I want to lose weight more, or did I want the Big Mac more? Sometimes I wanted the Big Mac more, but most of the time I had to say, does having the Big Mac justify putting off my goals one more day? And the same thing applies to what you're doing in business. You know, you want to make more money? Stop making it hard. It's not hard to make money. It's not hard to make money. If you are willing to do, and I've said this so many times, this is my mantra, whatever's necessary. And you've really got to reestablish whatever's truly necessary in order to make that breakthrough, in order to stop making it hard. You know, you want to attract more clients to your business? That's not hard. You just need to do it. If I asked you, if you're struggling with finding more clients, and I asked you and said, have you gone out knocking on doors? Have you been passing out flyers? Have you been hanging out in the mall, passing out sheets of paper? Have you been contacting every friend and family member that you know? Have you gone to every single church? Have you gone to every single person that is an ideal client and put your business card or your flyer in their hands and done the tough stuff and said, this is what I'm doing and I want you to come be a part of it? If I asked you that and you said no, you are not doing whatever's necessary. You are making it hard. And that is not necessary. You've got to be willing to reestablish doing whatever it takes to get through what you're going through now. Because here's the thing. At one point, I had obstacles. I mean, everybody does. I told you guys, when I started off getting into business at all, I was homeless. For heaven's sakes, I was living in my car. I figured I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was kind of like, just so that you know, it's kind of like in The Matrix, where he's like, you can take the red pill and go back to whatever it was that you were. You can take the blue pill and know from now on that this is the path that you want to take. And I read it and I said, I want the blue pill. I want to go full force. And eventually, one of my friends heard that I was living in my car and said, absolutely not. Come stay in the basement with me. In the basement of his house. Let me rephrase. I was in the basement, he was in the rest of the house. And so living down there, and then finally my ex-husband had kidnapped the kids. It's a long story. Okay, long story. But needless to say, there were obstacles there. When I finally got my kids back, now it's like, okay, now I have 3 more mouths to feed, and I'm still living in the basement. Now what do I do? And I hoofed it. Everywhere I could go, anyone that I could talk to, anybody that I could get at the time I was painting terracotta pottery and making wreaths out of grapevines. Yeah, which is, you know, helped me so much now. But anybody that I could get my product in front of. To give you an idea, the terracotta pots, they're kind of like what's being sold in Walmart now. That was an idea my husband had, and I said, no, Walmart would never buy something that it looks like somebody painted in their home. Yeah, actually they would. Not from me, because I didn't ask. I didn't do whatever's necessary. But at the time when I'm going through all of this, and I'm still living in the basement and everything else is going on, we decided to get into real estate, because how hard could it be? You just buy and sell houses. It's a little bit harder than that. I listened to the advice of someone that I very highly respected, However, I did not do my own due diligence. So the fault in what I am about to tell you lies completely on me. Not the person I was listening to, on me. I did not listen, I did not follow up, I did not study the legalities in the state of Georgia, because I live half in Georgia, half up here. I didn't study anything that I needed to know as to whether or not what he was teaching me to do as far as buying and selling property was legit. It's not. And I bought a piece of property the wrong way. Rather than the seller having an issue with me, they were fine. I'd done everything the right way there. The buyer, it was my house. I could buy it and sell it all I wanted to. But the buyer was the one that took issue. And you can sue anybody for anything in this country, literally. Doesn't have to be just cause. So she sued me. Now, let's remember where I was living at the time. I'm in a 200 square foot basement with myself, my newlywed husband, 3 kids from a previous marriage, none of them over the age of 5. I had to borrow money from my friend's grandmother's 401k in order to pay for the attorney to defend myself. Because I hadn't done anything wrong. Because even in Georgia, stupid is not illegal. And the courts agreed with me. But the fact of the matter was, at one point, I had to sit in front of the mortgage fraud detectives for 3 hours while they interrogated me. And at any given time, they could have said, you know, your story's pretty good, but nobody's that naive. We think you should come down to the pokey with us. At any given time, they could have arrested me. That was hard. I've never been so scared, other than the day that my kids were taken by my ex-husband. Other than that, I have never been so scared in my entire life. That was an obstacle. There were a lot of sleepless nights as a result of that. How can I continue to do business? Should I continue to do business? How can you do business while you're getting sued? Oh my gosh. There were a lot of obstacles involved in that. About the same time, I was going down the highway. I am a little bit of an aggressive driver. In Atlanta, you have to be. But one of my appointments had stood me up. I really value my own time, I value other people's time, and I expect the same in return. And when they didn't show up, I was very upset. So I was driving down the highway at an excessive rate of speed. I had some really great music in the CD player, enough to get me pumped, and the pedal was to the floor. I saw the cop before he saw me. And I said, he's going to pull me over. I'm going to do him a favor. So I went ahead and pulled over and waited on it. And, well, no, I was seriously speeding. And there was no sense in it. And so we both knew he was going to pull me over. So I pulled over and waited on him. And at the time, I'm living in this basement and all of this is going on. My license is still in North Carolina. I'm living in Georgia. License is still in North Carolina. Apparently, in North Carolina, if you get a ticket in another state, they automatically suspend your license. But they don't have to tell you. So the cop walks up to the car and he says, "Ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was feeling kind of cheeky, and I said, "Well, actually, you didn't pull me over. I was waiting on you, but it was because I was speeding." And so he took my information, goes back, comes back and says, "Did you know your license was suspended?" And I said, "What?" No. Long story short, he tells me I need to get in his vehicle in order to go and fill out paperwork. Once again, in my naive state, okay, we'll go fill out paperwork, but the car is going to stay, right? Now we need to have it towed. Okay, now the tears are coming. And so I get in all of a sudden I'm in the back of a police vehicle. I'm just done being interrogated by detectives, and now all of a sudden I'm in the back of a police vehicle, and I was going, what is going on? It was Good Friday. So all of the bail bondsmen, all of the banks were closed, all of the bail bondsmen were closed. I had 9 hours. And I continued to say, but I'm just here to fill out paperwork. Y'all don't understand. Yeah, they did. I was the one that didn't get it. So all of this, and I finally get, my husband bailed me out, and it's just, I mean, horrific. And I'm going, Am I missing the moral of this story? I don't understand why all of this stuff is going on. How can I possibly continue to stay in business? My bail was $900. I was going really fast, but it didn't justify $900 for a first offense. So I'm I get arrested, for heaven's sakes. I'm being sued, which I won, but still, lawsuit gets done. I wake up one morning thinking everything's feeling great, bed's feeling kind of soft. I've told you guys this story before. I was in the basement. The septic tank backed up and flooded the basement with raw sewage. Whatever I did have left was now buried in raw human feces. And as I'm carrying my daughter out on my back, up to my knees in sewage, I said, no more. This is my breaking point. Animals don't even live like this. Something's got to give. Something's got to change. And it was at that point that I started redefining the term whatever's necessary in order to actually either get my business off the ground or go back and get a job. But it was going to be one of the two. I chose not to have to beg for the day after Thanksgiving off, not to have to ask permission to go to the bathroom and continue to run my business. But it was all of these things. These were all obstacles that were in my way. We were on food stamps. There were a million different reasons why we should not have been successful. But I had to redefine the term whatever's necessary. And I know that you're going through hardships, and I know that you're struggling, and I know that the money is running out, and I know that you don't know where you're going to get the next customer from. But if I come to you and ask you, have you gone out and beaten the streets? Have you done what you need to do on the internet? Are you blogging regularly? Have you got articles going up at easingarticles.com? All of these things that we've talked about in these meetings, if you are not doing them on a regular basis, you're not doing whatever's necessary. And that's the thing that's got to change. I can tell you all day long what to do, but if you don't go home and do it, there's your problem. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that first before we got into any of the search engine optimization stuff, because, like I said, that's what I'm hearing from the different ladies that I'm meeting, that there are financial struggles, that there are obstacles, that people are saying it's hard. Stop making it hard. Just do it. When you do it, when you start filling the pipeline, think of your customers as, I want you to think of your business as a clear plastic tube. And your customers are ping pong balls. Right? That's your marketing, that's your SEO, that's everything that you do. Your blogs, your if you're doing any type of affiliate stuff, anything that you're doing is putting ping pong balls in one end of this clear plastic tube. And guess what? Eventually the tube's going to get full and things are going to start coming out the other end. That's the money. That's the regular customers. That's the stuff you're looking for. But if you are not filling that pipeline, nothing's going to come out the other end. None of this stuff just happens.